I've watched people lose over $100,000 buying land in the state of Texas. And the worst part is they didn't realize until it was too late. They thought they were getting a deal. They thought they had done their homework, and they still got it wrong. If you're even thinking about buying land, this is the video you need to watch before you make that mistake. Before you call an agent, before you make an offer, before you wire even one single dollar, you need to understand how people actually get burned buying land in Texas. Because once you close, you don't fix land. You own the outcome. I evaluate land across Texas every day. Large ranch tracts, small acreage, development deals, and homestead properties. And I can usually tell within minutes whether it's a good buy or just a long-term problem. Unfortunately, most buyers are just looking at land the wrong way. They focus on price per acre, they focus on the pictures, or they just focus on what they hope they can do. But land doesn't care what you hope. It either works or it doesn't. Okay, mistake number one, no legal access. Now this may seem like a no-brainer, but I couldn't tell you how many times people go in there and they're looking online and everything looks so great and the price per acre, and then they don't have an actual deeded easement or road access or the ability to properly ingress and egress on their property. So if you don't have all that, then you can't control your land. You can't build, you can't finance, and you can't resell it easily. If you're not 100% sure on access, stop. Okay, mistake number two, no water. And look, I did a whole video, deep dive on water that we're gonna pop the link up for it here. Water determines everything. No water means limited use and not very sustainable. So that means limited resale demand and limited value. If you're guessing on water, then you're just speculating. Mistake number three, unusable land. I know none of you have ever been on Tinder, but photos lie. Things like floodplain, drainage, soil, elevation. You don't buy land by the acre, you buy it by the function. Mistake number four, cheap land plus cost. So I had some clients back a few years ago, wanted to build a family compound, ended up getting a great place. But I got a lot of pushback from them because every time I showed them the ideal property that had everything that they described to me that they wanted to discuss or argue with me that it was overpriced. And they would show me these pieces, these other listings that were considerably less on a cost per acre. Well, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a great exercise. So what I did was a cost analysis, and I did side by side the property that I suggested and recommended that was going to be a great fit for their family compound, and then what each of the improvements that it had versus these other acreages that they were telling me that's what the cost should be in a cost per acre. And when you added them all up, the family compound that I was suggesting to them, they could clearly see that it was a huge savings because the amount of time and investment and real dollars that they were going to have to put in to make those other acreages as usable and as friendly and to create their family compound of their dreams like the one that I was suggesting. If you're serious about buying land, let's say you're ready to go within the next 3 to 6 months, call or email me with your criteria. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break it down some generic costs. In 2026, clearing trees and brush, that's going to run you about $4,000 an acre. So a small 10-acre spot, it's going to cost you about another 40 grand before you get started on anything else. Then you got to add in roads, water, electricity, septic, fencing. It all adds up fast. So you can see cheap land just sometimes isn't a deal. Most of the time it's a problem because one of those things that those costs don't take into account is the amount of time. Most people, this is not their full-time job. Going out there and building this land, this dream, this is a weekend getaway. This is a long-term project. And so not only is it going to cost you real dollars, it's going to cost you real time and enjoyment away from that land. Don't move forward on anything until you've had it properly evaluated. One conversation could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, mistake number 5, mineral rights. And look, I go into a deep dive in that. I'm going to post that video link right up here. But let me go over the basics. In Texas, mineral rights are dominant. Surface rights are subordinate. You may own the land, but you could lose control of what happens on it. If somebody else owns the minerals, they can access it. So an example of that would be they can come in and build roads, use water, use sand or other building materials that's available on that land, all in the process of extracting those minerals. In an extreme case, they can go in and build a lignite mine and scrape all of the surface away. But under the extreme circumstances, they can use 100% of the surface to get to those minerals. Land can be one of the best investments you make if you do it right. Reach out to me whenever you're ready. If you want to know more, you're going to want to stick around for this next video where we do a deeper dive into some of these mistakes. Keep learning and keep watching these next videos.